Chapter 3 of Jewish Children by Sholem Aleichem. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Jewish Children, Yudishe Kinder by Sholem Aleichem, translated by Hannah Berman, and read by Adrian Pretzelis. Chapter 3. Eliyahu the Prophet. It is not good to be an only son, to be fretted over by father and mother, to be the only one left out of 7. Don't stand here, don't go there, don't drink that, don't eat the other, cover up your throat, hide your hands. It is not good at all to be an only son, and a rich man's son into the bargain. My father is a money changer. He goes about amongst the shopkeepers with a bag of money, changing copper for silver and silver for copper. That is why his fingers are always black and his nails broken. He works very hard. Each day when he comes home he is tired and broken down. "I have no feet," he complains to mother. "I have no feet, not even the sign of a foot." No feet? It may be. For that again he has a fine business. That's what the people say, and they envy us that we have a good business. Mother is satisfied, so am I. We shall have a Passover this year. May all the children of Israel have the like, Father in heaven. That is what my mother said, thanking God for the good Passover. And I also was thankful. But shall we ever live to see it, this same Passover? Passover has come at last, the dear, sweet Passover. I was dressed as befitted the son of a man of wealth, like a young prince. But what was the consequence? I was not allowed to play or run about lest I caught cold. I must not play with poor children. I was a wealthy man's boy. Such nice clothes, and I had no one to show off before. I had a pocket full of nuts and no one to play with. It is not good to be an only child and fretted over, the only one left out of 7, and a wealthy man's son into the bargain. My father put on his best clothes and went off to the synagogue. Said my mother to me, "Do you know what? Lie down and have a sleep. You will then be able to sit up at the Seder and ask the 4 questions." Was I mad? Would I go to sleep before the Seder? Remember, you must not sleep at the Seder. If you do, Eliyahu the Prophet will come down with a bag on his shoulders. On the 2 first nights of Passover, Eliyahu the Prophet goes about looking for those who have fallen asleep at the Seder and takes them away in his bag. Ha! Will I fall asleep at the Seder? I? Not even if it were to last the whole night through. Not even to broad daylight. What happened last year, mother? Last year you fell asleep soon after the first blessing. Why did Eliyahu the Prophet not come then with his bag? Then you were very small. Now you are big. Tonight you must ask Father the 4 questions. Tonight you must say with Father, "Slaves are we." Tonight you must eat with us fish and soup and matzo balls. Hush! Here is Father, back from the synagogue. Good Yom Tov. Good Yom Tov. Thank God, Father made the blessing over the wine. I too. Father drank the cup full of wine. So did I, a cupful to the very dregs. "See, to the dregs," said Mother to Father. To me she said, "A full cup of wine, you will drop off to sleep." Ha! Will I fall asleep? Not even if I were to sit up all night, or even to broad daylight. "Well," said my father, "how are you going to ask the 4 questions? How will you recite the Haggadah? How will you sing with me, 'Slaves were we'?" My mother never took her eyes off me. She smiled and said, "You will fall asleep, fast asleep." Oh, mother! If you had 18 heads, you would surely fall asleep if someone sat opposite you and sang in your ears, "Fall asleep, fall asleep." of course, I fell asleep. I fell asleep and dreamt that my father was already saying, "Pour out thy wrath." My mother herself got up from the table and went to open the door to welcome Eliyahu the prophet. It would be a fine thing if Eliyahu the prophet did come, as my mother had said, with a bag on his shoulders, and if he said to me, "Come, boy." And who else would be to blame for this but my mother, with her "fall asleep, fall asleep"? And as I was thinking these thoughts, I heard the creaking of the door. My father stood up and cried, "Blessed art thou who comest in the name of the Eternal." I looked toward the door. Yes, it was he. He came in so slowly and so softly that one scarcely heard him. He was a handsome man, Eliyahu the prophet, an old man with a long grizzled beard reaching to his knees. His face was yellow and wrinkled, but it was handsome and kindly without end. And his eyes, ah, what eyes! Kind, soft, joyous, loving, faithful eyes. He was bent in two and leaned on a big, big stick. He had a bag on his shoulders, and silently, softly, he came straight to me. "Now, little boy, get into my bag and come." So said to me the old man, but in a kind voice, and softly and sweetly. I asked him, "Where to?" And he replied, "You will see later." I did not want to go, and he said to me again, "Come." And I began to argue with him. "How can I go with you when I am a wealthy man's son?" Said he to me, "And as a wealthy man's son, of what great value are you?" Said I, "I am the only child of my father and mother." Said he, "To me you are not an only child." Said I am fretted over. If they find that I am gone, they will not get over it. They will die, especially my mother." He looked at me, the old man did, very kindly, and he said to me softly and sweetly as before, "If you do not want to die, then come with me. Say goodbye to your father and mother, and come." "But how can I come when I am an only child, the only one left alive out of 7? Then he said to me more sternly, "For the last time, little boy, choose one of the two. Either you say goodbye to your father and mother and come with me, or you remain here but fast asleep for ever and ever." Having said these words, he stepped back from me a little and was turning to the door. What was to be done? To go with the old man God knows where and get lost would mean the death of my father and mother. I am an only child, the only one left alive out of 7. To remain here and fall asleep for ever and ever, that would mean I myself must die. I stretched out my hand to him, and with tears in my eyes I said, "Eliyahu the prophet, dear, kind, loving, darling Eliyahu, give me 1 minute to think." He turned towards me his handsome, yellow, wrinkled old face with its grizzled beard reaching to his knees, and looked at me with his beautiful, kind, loving, faithful eyes, and he said to me with a smile, "I will give you 1 minute to decide, my child, but no more than 1 minute." I ask you, what should I have decided to do in that 1 minute, so as to save myself from going with the old man, and also to save myself from falling asleep forever? Well, who can guess? End of chapter 3